in the zone, 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 podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, 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 in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, 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 in the zone.
Yo, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the In the Zone podcast. It is your boy, B. Foster. Brian Foster's in the building. Hey, happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. I'm excited about this one. We've been sitting on this one for like a year. And we got some amazing guests to get to in just a second. 2 In the Zone virgins, by the way. Always happy to bust some cherries around this piece. But before we get started, Sean, what's happening?
Not that I'm super excited about this topic. I'm gonna learn something today.
Are you?
Yep, maybe I can get a man in this topic. Hey. Hey.
This ain't about getting a man.
It absolutely
It's
is
about
about
getting
a
a
man.
husband.
Well, I gotta get the man first, and then it turns into a husband. You just don't walk
Not
out the gate.
always.
Oh, y'all gonna teach me how to get a husband? I can skip the girlfriend part, go straight to the husband part?
No, well, maybe. I don't know. Shit.
Oh,
We about to
shit.
figure, I don't know. I don't know what wisdom these ladies have
Well,
to offer.
I'm ready. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to learn, ladies. I'm ready to learn. Teach me.
That's what she says now. Anyway, hey, we're gonna play a quick video. This is one of the funniest clips from one of the funniest comedians. This was your comedian's favorite comedian that unfortunately passed, but hilarious. It's gonna set the tone and tenor for the day just a little bit, just a little levity, and then we will dive right in. So check this clip out real quick.
It's hard to be honest, man. Honesty is not the greatest thing to be. It's not. It's just no one wants to hear. Yeah, especially your woman. You know, she don't want to hear that. Because men, it's hard for us to love you and like you at the same time. It's just, it is what it is. Once a man loves you, he no longer likes you usually. So I'm going to give you some advice, ladies, on how to keep your man liking you once he loves you, if that's possible. This is what I think. Men want to be alone, but we don't want to be by ourselves. Does that make sense at all? Meaning, really, Look at this guy looking at his wife like, not you, sweetie, but sort of you, kinda. We want you somewhere, like in the dwelling, just not here, like just like around the corner, in the vents. You can sit in the vent, I don't care if you want to watch me, but in the on the roof, anywhere, but just not in front of me, trying to be my friend. What you doing? What you doing? Watching baseball? Why you watching baseball by yourself? How come you didn't get me up? You snuck out of bed. Why'd you didn't get me up? I want to watch baseball with you. What you doing? Why you down here by yourself? Move over. Move your leg off that ottoman where it's comfortable so I can sit next to you and wrap my leg around your leg and some weird I love you hot vine. Move over. Give me your arm. Give me your arm. Give it to me. Let me give it. Come here. Give me a kiss. Mean it. Mean the kiss. You love me? Say it. Say it. Mean it. What you doing? What you eating, a hamburger? You shouldn't be eating a hamburger at 11. It's too early to eat a hamburger. Let me go make you a better sandwich, a turkey sandwich on 47 grain bread with no mayonnaise and bean sprouts. Tastes like rat turds and twigs. Ain't that better? Ain't that better? A dry sandwich you don't want? Ain't that better? Why is the TV so loud? Well, turn it down. Ain't that better? Can't hear the TV, got a dry sandwich you don't want? Ain't that better? Why is it so cold in here? Why is the ceiling fan and the air conditioner? Turn it off. Ain't that better? Sweating, wrapped up into a hot vine, can't hear the TV, got a dry sandwich. Ain't that better? Why is it so dark in here? Let some sunlight in. Ain't that better? Can't see the TV, can't hear it. Hey, I gotta go, man. Y'all take care of it. Thank you very much.
Oh, because that's me.
Ain't that better? No, motherfucker. It's not better at all. Yes, it is, because your presence is here.
I'm starting to see why I'm not married.
Anyway, that's one of my favorite clips. Funny. But let me introduce our ladies, our guest, our wisdom for the day. First and foremost, in studio, on my right, your left, the amazing, the incredible, my shippy in love. What's going on, baby?
Yes, what's going on? Everything's good.
Everything is good?
Yes, on and on.
Okay, I know you got pearls of wisdom.
Does she have a name, by the way?
You know you got pearls for sure.
I don't think you said her name, by the way.
Oh, did I not say?
No. You said your shipping law.
That's all I got to say.
Oh, well, shipping law it is.
That's all I got to say. Shit. I ain't giving nobody's name no more. I'm just giving their personal affiliations to me.
To you.
Everybody's going to have a nickname. It's going to be amazing. All right, let's do it.
I ain't mad.
They all know who she is. There's Alex like, say my shipping law's name. My shippy's name. And then we got, and actually, an In the Zone first timer.
Yes.
They're all virgins today.
No, they're not.
Oh,
they're
I'm
not.
sorry.
No, they're not.
My bad.
Then we have our reoccurring guest. She pops in from time to time. This is my girl, my longtime buddy, Lena B. What's going on, girl?
What's happening? Greetings from Florida. That's all.
Greetings. Are y'all safe down there? Everything good?
Yeah, actually, South Florida, it really missed us by a lot. So we're
That's great.
good.
Good.
Shout out to you, but unfortunate for the rest of South Florida.
Well, that Gulf Coast gets pretty tough over there on the Gulf, but we're over here on the Atlantic side. We've been knocked on some wood, right? We've been okay.
She had to search for wood.
No wood.
Oh, and then our other first timer. She talk a lot of shit though. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm assuming she gonna talk some shit in real life.
No.
Sometimes I don't translate.
No.
I got faith in her. My girl Kat, what's happening, lady?
You made me drool. Yes, hey guys.
With that fantastic background, look at
I
that.
know she had a whole studio back. Look, that's why she didn't want to come.
Shout out to my husband. So we will do that.
All right. Okay.
My
all
man,
right.
my man, my man.
My man,
Let's
my
go.
man, my man.
Yes.
My man.
That is what this is all
You
about.
already know. So if you don't know the topic and you're joining us, I'm assuming you're joining us because you do know the topic. We are going to discuss how these beautiful ladies, wonderful husbands, caught their attention, kept their attention, and continue to keep their attention all through these years.
Can I say I love how you crafted that, because you know the tendency is really be like how you keep that man,
Yeah.
how he not going nowhere. No, he kept them. I love it.
Damn right he kept this right.
Keep that going.
That's right. So we're gonna get his fellas some advice, the married ones and the non-married ones, on how you keep some of these beautiful ladies in your life. I'm gonna start with my Shipla Mishula. First question: how'd you meet Mr. Ira?
Yes. So Mr. Ira and I actually met at a mutual friend's birthday party in St. Louis.
Okay.
So it's like a whole long distance romance come together thing. He lived in Memphis at the time. I was living in Chicago. We both went to that mutual friend's birthday party, and that's how we met.
Okay. And so no. That's where you met. How'd you meet?
Okay. So we met in a kitchen. Oh no. Actually, we met in a car because
This gets better.
it does. It does. So we were leaving before the prelude to the party was us meeting them at a strip club in East St.
You were about to leave the best parts out. Come on, this is why I do what I do. Keep going.
Yes. So we hung out there for a bit, but Ira must have been tired, so he was actually out in the car asleep. Getting in the car, going over to the mutual.
To go to
Listen, I don't look. It was either sleep or over intoxicated. I don't know. I ain't know him yet, so I can't.
And it
speak
was
for
East
him.
Saint, so it might not have been.
Might not have been that popping.
Or I ain't know him yet. He might have been doing something else in the car. I don't know. I don't know.
Stroke it to your right, stroke it to your left.
Don't be in trouble.
So he was asked to get in the car with me and another young lady to help us get back to the house. And so, he looked and saw who was in the car and was okay with getting in the car.
At a strip club in East St. Louis.
Oh no, they met in the car.
And we met in
the parking lot.
In the park. There you go.
Of East St. Louis.
That's what be clear.
Fine, if we gotta do that.
They didn't introduce themselves as titties was flying in their face.
Right,
That's not what was happening.
That had already happened. All right. Kat, I'm gonna go to my other newbie. How did you and the Mr. meet?
I met my husband the old-fashioned way in the club.
Y'all are all fascinating.
The old-fashioned way. Actually, it was a birthday party my girlfriend invited me to. I went there. Funny story, I was dancing with her on the dance floor, and his cousin came over to dance with me, and I was like, this is not it. And he was like, dance with me. I'm like, no. So he left, and I don't know if it was a man thing or whatever. He sent my husband over, and I was like, oh, I'll dance with you. Then after that, we still dancing.
Hey.
So wait, you can so his cousin is what I heard, right?
And you know what the funny thing is? He is my step partner to this day.
The cousin?
Yeah.
The cousin, yes. But yeah,
You got to see this man at family functions and Christmas, and you done dissed him.
pretty much. But you know, God intervenes. So that's all we're gonna say.
Is he married?
No, he's not.
All right. Yep. God intervened then. You were right. Lena B.
Yes.
How'd you meet my boy Anton?
We actually both worked at the same company. I was in the corporate marketing department, and he showed up to one of my events, one of my evening events, after work events, for work. And as I was walking through the event, tending the business, he grabbed me by the waist, and I didn't pull away. So it was.
That's not very business.
That is an HR violation.
Man risked his whole career for you.
Sure did.
You did it all.
Shout out to him.
Come on, when you see what you want, you get what you like.
He be right up, be damned. Don't get this one.
It was many other people in the room, so it was good.
I ain't mad at
that. Actually makes it more interesting than a room full of people.
Right, room full of witnesses.
Room full of co-workers. Everybody could have went to HR.
I saw Elena get accosted.
You know Karen would have did it too.
You know Karen would have done it.
But charming as attractive as he was, it would have been it could have gone south real quick.
That's typical. That's typically how that goes. Good looking charming dudes get away with a whole lot of dumb shit. I do want to hold on. I want to reverse field real quick. I lost my name. Questions.
They're right here, weirdo.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. I didn't know you had them pulled up.
Yes.
So I know how you met him.
Yeah.
But were you searching? Let me keep this on later. Were you searching at the moment? Like, were you interested in finding a husband? Were you just kind of freewheeling doing your thing? Were you anti-dating or anti-husband at the moment? Like, what space were you in your life at the moment?
It was quite some time ago, but I think I was dating. I wasn't looking for a husband at all. I was mid-20s at best, so it was not in my purview. But that night I do remember telling my mom, like, I met this guy, and you know what, I would marry a guy like him. I didn't think it would be him, but a few years later it ended up being him.
Oh, I know you and mom's tight, so if you went home saying that.
Yeah, and I never said, and I was like, I'd like to marry a guy like that.
What about him had you feeling that way? I assume it wasn't him just grabbing you in a waist full of people that could write him up. What was it exactly?
There were I think, initially off the bat, it's really, if you know my husband, you know that he's just a really like charming guy. And he has, he can have, where he's just, a really attractive personality. He can be really really nice, a really nice guy. And I saw all of that in those minutes. And clearly he was at my event, and, he's a professional guy. So he was there in a suit. And so it seemed just like from the personality standpoint, and then from the attractiveness standpoint, it was just like, wow.
Oh, it don't hurt that he easy on the eyes either.
And had on a suit.
Hold on, Jamal, for once, ask a good question. Had you seen him before around the office place?
I had not. So we worked in a pretty big office building. So no, I hadn't seen him, but he said he had seen me before, walking to and from the elevator. And he would notice me because I had this big backpack on my back, which was my laptop that I took home. And years ago, I won't say how many years ago, those things used to be pretty big. So I had a huge laptop book bag on my back, and he'd see me in like my little red hat walking to the elevator, but I hadn't seen him before.
He'd been scheming.
He had
been scheming.
That's probably why he was actually at the event.
Oh, go get him. Let me ask him. Text him real quick. Was that what? All right, that's what's up. Kat, how did you meet your mister? Excuse me. What about? No. Let me rephrase, because Sean didn't mess up my question.
Sorry.
That's good. You follow up good. What phase and place were you at in your life when you met yours? Were you searching? Were you dating around? Were you like, marriage? I'm not ready for all that right now. And then he changed your mind.
We were in our early 20s when we met, and I had just came out of a relationship. I was engaged to somebody, had called that off. Come to find out that he had been married previously to his high school sweetheart. That didn't work out, but I talked to him briefly, and besides him just being attractive, I remember the first conversation we had, and I was so excited. I got off the phone, I called my best friend. I was like, girl, you won't believe it. He don't have no kids. He got a car. He got a college degree, and he fine, and he don't live with his mama. This is it. And then like, get him, girl. And he's the polar opposite of me. So all the shit I talk, everything I do, he is like the opposite. I couldn't marry somebody just like me. So
I love that. She was like, he got a car, he'll live with his mama. Score.
What's wrong with living with your mama?
I assume he was also in his early 20s.
Yeah, he's actually a little bit younger than me. So yes.
Yeah, so that's quite the achievement at 22, 23. Yeah.
Now, we was a little bit older, but yeah, I was
25. Even 25, 26.
I was 27. He was 25. You're right. So yeah.
That's an achievement.
That's interesting. So he was 25, but he had already been married and divorced once.
Yes.
High school sweetheart.
Mm-hmm. I'm that later. That's the
Wait, you said he was married and divorced twice?
No.
Oh, I was gonna dig into that now. Like, whoa.
No.
Oh, that would have been a red flag too. Yeah.
Right. Fool, you could barely vote, and you already divorced twice. Wow. Okay. All right. That's an interesting dynamic. I'm gonna ask some follow-up questions that later.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch.
Yes.
Where were you in life? What was going on?
Tell the truth and shame the devil.
Come on.
Let's go.
So I actually was in and out.
Oh, let's go. Here we go.
That was
you had a whole man.
My husband would say, and he often does say that I monkey barred him, which I don't feel is true all the way.
Wait,
it's like 30% true.
Wait, what's a monkey bar?
So for him, the monkey bar is like I was still kind of hanging on over here.
Oh, like the monkey
before
bar.
I fully swung on over.
She swung up. She went from one bar to the next.
Right.
I love it.
Right.
So that's not totally inaccurate.
Not totally.
Okay.
But I mean, we were. I guess you could say I was dating.
Okay.
And I began dating him.
Look, the cream rise to the top. That's all that matters.
Listen, and it didn't take him long to rise to the top.
No.
So
what's not long?
So I would probably say maybe a month or two.
Damn.
For me to fully swing over.
Poor Andre, he just got
about 2 months.
Poor Andre, he was just hanging on and just got.
Mm-hmm.
You just gave that man a whole name.
Andre.
I could be right. His name could be Andre.
What up, Louis? What's happening, brother?
I mean, the man has a name, I assume.
I'm tickled that you named him.
Yeah.
All right. But were you looking for like something serious? Mm-hmm. Were you geared towards marriage? Were you just kind of
I mean, definitely geared towards marriage. One thing about me too is I've always been in long-term relationships. Mm-hmm. So that's just, I don't know if I want to say that's me or what I give off makes people want to be in long relationships with me.
Maybe it's both. Yeah. Maybe it's both.
Yeah.
All right.
Sean,
what you got?
Me? Let's start with Kat. Did you have any concerns when you first were dating him? Or was it just nothing but green lights outside of him not living with his mama and having his own car?
No, I had concerns because of his friends. And I love them to death. Brother-in-law, love you. Hope you don't see this. But the way his friends were in their relationship journeys, the way they were operating, I was worried that he was on the same accord, especially having been divorced previously 2 years. I'm like, he may need time to get back into something, figure out if this is what he wants to do. I had already had a daughter and having been in a relationship before, I didn't have time. So either you can decide to jump in or we could just move on. So, but even seeing him with his friends and being introduced to his family and his mom, you could see immediately there was a difference. That he was very intentional. He kind of still wanted to see a little bit of single, but the more we talked, the more we got together, you could see he was kind of deciding that this is what he wanted to do. And then, of course, we got pregnant. So
I feel like the next logical question, but it's kind of nosy. So
that's the point of this conversation.
Is that why you got married? Please don't beat me up.
No. We didn't get married till 6 years later. So we took our time. We've been together for 20 years and been married 14.
Oh, I should have asked that question up front.
Oh,
that's my bad. So we got 2020, Lena.
So the question is, were there red flags?
Well, how long have you been? Has it been 20 years?
We've been married for 13 years.
Okay.
But I don't like to cut people's dating time off. Y'all was together before you were married. How long? Engaged, dating, married?
Yeah, good question. We were engaged a little over a year. And I want to say we were dating about 3 or 4 years.
So
Okay,
you
so
not getting
16 years,
knocking on
16,
that 20
17
mark.
years.
All right.
Concerns. Did you have any concerns when you were first dating him, right before you got married, and that's him walking in the room? Like, what you saying about me, babe?
That's the little one walking in. Go on. Close the door. Sorry about that.
Hold on, I do want to hold on, Lane, before we ask that question. I do want to ask a follow up to Kat real quick.
Mm-hmm.
She slammed that door too, like, forget you, mama. Kat, you said the way his friends are moving. Are you basically saying his friends were hoe bags? Is that what we're?
Absolutely.
Well, they were in their mid-20s. So
yeah, and they would agree too. So I mean, it's not anything as a diss to them, but he just wasn't, and it wasn't. I think I could see. I mean, I grew up with boy cousins, brothers. I knew BS, so I could see if he was just trying to do something for me. But no, he just wasn't moving the same way they were.
I mean, married at, your high school sweetheart at what? Oh, what was he? 21, 19 when they got married?
20. Yeah. So there's a level as a commitment that's established within that you want to have. So
yeah, that tells you a little something about how he was moving in the first place. Yeah.
All right. And before you move on from her, because this is an interesting question that Chris just asked. We know the cousin ain't married. What about the friends that were hoe bags 20 years ago? Are they married now?
They're all married.
Are they still hoe bags? Well,
that's the people's business, but no.
Oh, what you right?
no, they're all no.
All right, Elena, I'm sorry. Concerns during the relationship, maybe right before you got married. Did you have any around your husband?
Right before we got married? No. Well, he was the challenge for us at the time was that he was traveling internationally for work. And I remember helping him find the opportunity. I was like, well, I think you really like to do consulting. And so he had started applying for consulting jobs. And then he's like, oh, I've got to go to Pakistan in 2 weeks. And I was like, wait, no, I wasn't implying that you go halfway across the world to Pakistan. And so at that time, it was a big unknown for me in terms of what happened with our relationship. But he worked really hard on our communication. I mean, even though he was overseas, we spoke every day. He flew back and forth, and clearly, when he was home, we spent quite a bit of time together. So the only, I think, concern as we were getting married was just that international travel piece.
Look, shout out to the men's doing all that work to get his woman.
Yeah.
Because some of y'all are lazy. Just keeping it a buck.
Hold on, let me tell you something.
And not you in particular.
I'm not talking about me at all. I'm talking about in general. If that man wants you, really wants you, you make the effort.
You look.
And if he not, you got to question if he really wants you or not.
I don't disagree with any of this.
All right, I'm just making sure we're on the same accord.
All right.
Yes. And he had been in a prior marriage, but I had never dated anybody who had been divorced before. So that was new, but that was not ever, he never brought that old into our relationship.
Well, I have to ask you and Kat this, because you all both said that your husbands had been married.
He might have brought some of the old in, Atlanta, just in a good way.
Well, I was just going to ask that. Like, do you think whatever lessons they learned from their previous marriage?
Hold on, we don't know.
Well, I know, but I can't skip the question.
Oh, no, hold on. We got to see if we can ask him the same question. But
no.
Never hadn't been married? Okay.
No. So, do you think they took the lessons from their previous marriage and brought it over into your marriages? Marriages, because more than two. And if so, do you know what those lessons are that they brought over? We'll start with Kat.
I think for me, I think that's one of the reasons why it took us so long to get married, for him, I'll say on his part, and because we've had these conversations, is just making sure that those fundamental mistakes are made again. And I think a lot of it had to do with them being so young. I know he mentioned that his mom thought it wasn't a good idea to get married, but he's the kind of guy who has loyalty. She supported him when he was in college, from high school, and he thought that would be his future, even though he had some hesitation, but his loyalty allowed him to do that. So for me, that made me feel more comfortable in knowing that in our relationship, there was a sense of loyalty. So a commitment, and he was serious about it. So it took us a while. Like I said, 6 years. There were times where I was like, damn it, we've been together. We got a kid. Let's do this. And he was like, no. And then he would say, let's get married. I'm like, no. And then finally it was just, I think we were both kind of scared, but him bringing in that piece of loyalty and security and understanding what he wanted. And I knew him being there still meant that he had a commitment to our relationship. So that made me feel some more secure. And I think he brought that piece in with me. And me having never been married, honestly, I don't look at him being married previously as anything, as a negative. Anything, it made me feel more confident that he's able to make a decision and a commitment to somebody to do that. So he brought that in, made me feel secure. And I did it.
Oh, Elena, same question for you. If you need me to repeat it, let me know.
No, it's I think, it's very similar, the commitment and the loyalty, and then the communication as well. Like I said, I've been in a long distance relationship before prior to this, and they take a lot of communication. So I think, for him, knowing what he would like to do different in his relationships moving forward, and then I guess when he found that, just really bringing out the best of his personality, because I know for sure, in dating him, he brought out a lot of good characteristics in me. So, and that's really important. And, the thing is like, we enjoyed every phase of our relationship. We enjoyed the dating. And getting to know each other. I was not in a rush to get married, and when he had made the decision that he wanted, it's like, yeah, we should get married. This is something we should do. So it was nothing I even pushed him on or put pressure on him about. It was, yeah, this is it. This is what we're gonna do. And I was okay with it, but I was, really okay with, our space. Even when we were engaged, it's like, I'm okay in this space. Like, it wasn't like I was trying to rush him to the altar, rush him to marry me, or, tie him down or anything like that, because our relationship was just really that good, and for the most part, even the kids part, I was like, kids are really going to change things. He's like, we'll be okay. And so the thing is, I think he also learned that, and we both learned, because this is going to happen in marriage, as you grow, you're going to change, and it's important that you grow together.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. As always, Jamal, get your life.
He like he waffles between a troll and actually asking a pretty profound question.
Yes,
He can't help himself.
Oh, we're good. All right. Oh, no, we're not. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, when we're just mute both by way. Yeah. We got a little bit of an echo that I know comes through, so we're gonna mute you all when you're not talking, and then we'll bring you back up when you are. Thank you for your understanding. I do have a question though, Kat. 6 years. I know you said that, sometimes, and you already had kids, so sometimes you were like nope, and sometimes he was like nope. So what were the things that were making you all pause for 6 years?
You know what? In honesty, there was, like I said, he was married before. There were some things that he knew how to do better than I did. And I'm an Aries. I'm a little stubborn. So just let me give you one example. He was financially better than I was. And we, just like Elena mentioned, that communication, we talk about everything. I mean, everything. Sometimes it's just too much that we talk about. But we had a conversation early on, because we had a daughter pretty quick into our relationship. We wanted to make sure that we were together because we wanted to be together, and not solely just because we had a kid together, because that's not going to keep us together. But he was really good with money initially, and I wasn't. And he's like, it's not going to work, if I'm good with money and you're not. And I'm like, so what does that mean? it means you need to learn how to do money. So he would give me bills to pay and be in charge of the accounts. He was like, we can't get married if you don't know how to do the finances properly. And honestly, I was really stubborn about that for a while. I'm like, you're the man, you should do this. And he really pushed that upon me. And I'll be honest, I argued with him for about 6 months to a year. But that was one of the best things that he could have honestly taught me, because to this day, I do the finances. He has 100% trust in me. And I think if he hadn't put that to me to do that, that would be a hindrance in our marriage. So that was one of the things that really set the footprint to get us on one accord, to understand that if we're going to get married, we have to be aligned on everything. We may not be the best at everything, but you need to know that we're on the same page. And that finance thing really, honestly, helped me, and it helped us.
Look at that man making you better. Yeah. Let's go. All right.
He couldn't wait to say that.
You damn right I could. What?
I'll give you that. I'll give him credit. That man made me better in that aspect.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know if that is a commonality with Elena too, but definitely I'm hearing that's exactly Ira and I. Like, he has always pushed me out of my comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And so, I see that as a commonality with the panelists, and maybe that is something that men need to consider, getting you a partner that, well, one thing he has told me is that people mess up because they need to marry an asset and not a liability.
Facts.
That's one. So he married an asset, he feels, and not a liability. That's right. But in that too, just pushing me out of my comfort zone and stretching me and growing me, and hopefully we growing one another. But
that's what a partnership is. Absolutely. Right. Let me ask you this, Miss. I was just about to circle to you. I know Ira I didn't know. Now I know that he hadn't been married previously, but he did have a child coming in. Mm-hmm. How did that affect your thinking around the relationship, potential marriage potential?
Yeah, I think he, from what I saw of him being a father and the way that he managed his relationship with his son's mother, it was never, most people think about drama, but I didn't have, it was no problems in that way for me, which was helpful, because when you kind of had those as distractions, you can't really build on your relationship because you're worried about, and especially me too, not having children. You know what I mean? So because he managed that well and it didn't distract from our relationship, I didn't have any issues or concerns around that.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Look at that.
Lord.
Why are you lording?
Mm-hmm. I'm just marveling at you.
I just like to hear about these wonderful relationships and these men bringing value into these ladies' lives.
Look,
that's all I'm saying.
I'm just going to share with the audience why I'm marveling at him. Brian loves love. He is just a little love bug. So all this love, and I love my man, and my man loves me. It's just warming his cold, dead heart.
It is. I am half asshole, half simp. I will own this, and I'm not ashamed.
Good for you. They had a whole post about half of you earlier today, by the way.
I'm sorry?
Never mind. About the simp part.
Oh, whatever. I missed it.
Anyway, Michelle, since we've had quite a bit of chat, I'm going to switch gears a bit. Mm-hmm. How does your husband keep you invested in the relationship? And not just your husband, yourself. Like, how do you guys?
Wait. Before we get there.
God damn you.
I know, I'm sorry. We skipped a beat. We can't get there before we get to the wooing. Mm-hmm. I want to hear how you were wooed.
Yeah. He definitely started out with some wooing going strong from when we met in St. Louis, hitting me with his business card to give me his number.
Bam!
You should really give me a call sometime with that. And one funny story too is, so he's in sales. So, oftentimes they'll get incentives, and one of his was a trip to Cancun. So that was a wooing thing. We met in May, went on that trip in August, but he's like, hey, I want to take you somewhere. I'm like, oh yeah, we talked about going to Atlanta. Are you talking about that? He like, no, I want to take you to Cancun. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. I've been, but I can go back.
burst his whole little bubble like,
I mean, Cancun's never a bad time.
I mean, right. And we actually had a phenomenal time, but that was a part of the warrant too. But that was also my little way of letting him know the way I was raised is that my parents raised me to that men aren't gonna do something for me. Like they didn't want me to feel like somebody was really doing something for me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not being like hit over the head with the warrant. Gotcha. I've had experiences. So that's what that was really
about. Our producer just caught. Thank you. Sorry, our producer just caught me. Did we skip Lane on that last question?
We did, but I didn't want to belabor it.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. I don't ever want.
Oh, no. What last question?
No. About what was the damn last question?
The last question was what lessons did they take from?
Oh, that's
the
right.
Husbands
from the husbands. That's right. So yeah, Lena started actually.
No, Kat started. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Right,
they both got.
All right, cool. I'm just making sure. Jake, don't be sending me off.
But we did not ask. Mishala was the one about concerns in the marriage, but I didn't want to belabor that because we started shifting gears.
Well, we're here now.
Did I have concerns before we got married? I don't think that I had concerns. I think what I'm hearing from other people too, we dated 5 years before we got married. And actually when we started dating, Ira asked to court me. So that means that you're dating me to marry me. But it was he
asked you.
Yes, he did. He asked if he could court me.
Never heard of this. This is phenomenal.
Yes. He asked if he could court me. And he was consistent too with his everything that comes along with courting a person. That's one of the things that how he really got me, his consistency. Yeah. So he asked to court me. And he did.
So what does this courting entail?
Yeah. So I mean, really being intentional around getting to know me, spending time together, all of those things, having conversations, communicating like the ladies have talked about, and really preparing for building a life together. So we had conversations around that. We spent a lot of time together, and we dated long distance too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because he was in Memphis originally.
Yeah. Yeah. So and he was just really consistent with that, with the courtship. It wasn't perfect, but nothing's perfect.
Yeah, what is perfect?
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll give my boy a stick next time I see him.
Y'all killing me.
Kat. Yeah. Let me hear about the wooing. Because you let him knock you up real quick. So you must have been wooing some shit.
You know what? We got pregnant really fast, but he was still really good in every phase from the time we found out, the time I was pregnant, being engaged with his family. And even after we had our daughter, he still made sure that I knew it was more than just us having a child together. It was us. He let me know that he wanted to be with me, spend the rest of his life with me. We talked about everything that we wanted to do. That's the one thing, like I said, we've always communicated. And through that, we've learned how to, let me dial back in. We talking about wooing. So yeah, we would cook together. That's our big thing. We cook together. My husband cooks. We cook together. We would go out. We would go to new places together. We would talk about places we want to visit. We would take trips. We had a lot of firsts together. So, and we were intentional about, hey, I've never done this. Let's do it together. So we were a lot of firsts for each other. So that's how we wooed each other and made sure we stayed engaged.
Nice. Chris Beard is stupid.
Well, listen, I'm not listening. Frat, shut up. Lena, how were you wooed? I know it took some wooing for you. I know of you long time.
Woo. Well, I mean, like I said, a portion of our relationship, and while we were dating, Anton was traveling internationally quite a bit. And so when he would come home, like the time was always intentional. It was always a lot of fun. Really, nice restaurant dates. We'd hang out. I mean, we'd have just a good time together as, friends and as a couple, and with friends. But probably the cherry that topped it all off was while he was working in Egypt, he's like, why don't you fly out to Egypt and hang out with me? So I did. And and then we went vacation in Sharm el Sheikh, which is right off the Red Sea. So after that,
this motherfucker.
And he paid for the plane ticket. I assume that he paid for that plane ticket.
I believe so. I don't. That was quite some time ago. But yeah, and actually, my mom was like, "I'm coming too," so she actually came too, and she got her own room. And when he was working, we hung out, and then at night we really experienced.
He blew your mom out too. Oh my God!
So
these men don't exist. Where?
I wasn't by myself, and my mom was there, and so we went and experienced Egypt and the pyramids and all that stuff. And at night we do dinners all around Egypt, and then he took time off, and that's when we went to Sharm el Sheikh, which is like a resort town off the Red Sea.
He paid for you and your mom to come to Egypt. Where these niggas at? I want one of them.
She got them shit. Which some way?
They is married.
He's a one of one.
They is married now. They is married now.
They is married now. Hey, fellas, I want you to take notes though. If you mean business, flew her out.
No, she's a wife. She got flown out.
No. She wasn't a wife then. Flew her out. I'm sorry, John. I cut off your other question. I had to get there before we got
I don't remember what I was gonna ask. How do you? And we'll go back to Michelle since I was gonna start there. Like, how do both of you guys keep investing in the marriage? Right? Like, how do you keep it going? How do you keep it interesting?
Mm-hmm. One thing always about us, because I heard somebody else mention this too. Like, we have, if nothing else, we have been able to be a good time for one another. So we definitely have a good time together. And we spend a lot of time together. I mean, some people shy away from that, but even when we mad, it's like, man, it's Friday. Like, you know what I'm saying? You want to go, you want to go sit on the bar. Right. It's like by Friday, it's like, you want to go sit on the bar with me at Barrel Club. You know what I mean? So, cause we just so used to being together like that. And man, pouring into each other in positive ways, pushing one another as far as like goals, things of that nature, like elevating together, really.
Would you say the dating part is probably the hallmark of your relationship?
Yeah. No, for sure, because we'll still a date. Like our boys are really active, and they'll have football practice. We drop somebody off at 6. We going on a date real quick and we'll be back at 8:30 to pick that child up. So we make that kind of time for one another. So dating is definitely very important in our relationship. So.
Got it. I'm sorry.
That was
fucking love bug.
You moving too fast.
I'm sorry.
So let me tell me what specifically he's doing. I mean, obviously you all pouring each other. You keep dating, having a good time. I see that in you guys. But what specifically about him keeps your interest level high?
I think it's the push for me. I think the way that he pushes me, to grow. And I mean, he makes sure he stay fine.
That boy be lifting them weights.
That matters.
Did she say, wait, what?
No, I'm saying, my man.
He fine as hell. Like, it's
a good looking man.
Matters. That's a good looking man. That matters too. So. I mean, like, I think, I hope I'm answering your question. You are. But what is the specific thing he's doing though? I mean, honestly, I think really, and he might not necessarily agree with this, but really him just being him. And you know what? Allowing me to be me. And that's important. And in relationships, sometimes you have to really grow to that. Allowing your person to be who they are. And even in changes, like as you've been together over years, no one's going to stay the same. Thanks. We're all evolving with age, all kind of things are going on, maturity, experiences, but just allowing me still in all of those things to be me, and then me trying to allow him to be him. Yeah.
Yeah. Sick of you.
You love me.
Elena, same series of questions. Like, what do you and your husband do to keep the marriage? I hate to say alive, because it's not like it's a slug or something like that, but like, how do you keep the marriage interesting? Like, what do you guys do to keep things going?
Good question. So we, we are very intentional, I think, towards each other. And I know that my husband's really intentional when it comes to me. Um, so like, um, like it was said, like our time, a lot of our time comes in when the kids are dropped off at school, right? So because, they're a lot and they just add another dimension to a marriage for sure. So, he's super busy during the day, but if he has a break, he's like, hey, just the simple things, want to go for a walk, want to go grab breakfast. And so that's our time. And, he's very intentional about making sure that we have that time. Um, Going out on dates considers are hard down here in South Florida, but making sure that we really keeping, even if it's as small as like checking in with each other during the day, and just keeping that dialogue open. So that's something that we are very intentional about. It's, like I said, especially when the kids are out, it's like let's just make sure that we have that quality time together.
Okay. Kat?
I agree with the communication. I think we try and be engaged in everything we do. So we have, my husband's is really, I always tell people he's really smart. I'm married to an engineer. So, and I have this really big thing for smart people. So we have conversations about things that people just wouldn't even talk about. It can be from food to politics to foreign policy, just anything. And we're always engaged. We're always fact checking each other. We thrive off the knowledge that each one knows and just the little things from that. So, like in my house, there's no gender roles. I'll cook, my husband cooks, I'll take out the garbage. We date. Our kids there's a big age gap in our kids. So we have an 8-year-old and we don't really have family to take care of him. We will go on a date and we will take him just to make sure that we're engaged. Every day at 11:30, he calls me when he's getting ready to go to the gym. Little conversations. Hey, what are you going to work on today? I'm going to do cardio. What are you going to do? I'm going to run. And just the support. I know you mentioned, I heard the communication and how we're always changing and situations evolve. And, we've been working out for years, and I started running a couple years ago. And I remember I wanted to run my first marathon. And I'm not sure if he knew I was going to complete that marathon, but he never made me feel like he didn't discourage me. And just recently, January, I stopped drinking. And people don't realize like little rituals like that are something that you would do, after work together. You sit down, talk about your day, you would have a drink. Our dynamic changed a whole lot, and me not drinking. And he never not made me feel supported. And that really did change a lot of our dynamic of how we got engaged after work, talked about things, our little after work date to catch up with each other. So that dynamic changed, but he still supported me in that. And we found new ways to get that time together. I'll drink my non-alcoholic little rosé. He'll still have his drink and we'll still talk, and nothing changed. So just about pivoting and navigating and just evolving as the relationship does.
Kat, you just killed two men in that one comment. First, you killed Chris. There's no gender roles. He lives for a gender role, and then you kill Brian because you don't drink. You
didn't kill me. You ain't got to drink.
Whatever.
I'm gonna have my drink, but I support you in whatever move you want to make. And that's what I hear. I heard two distinct things, and I'm gonna ask Lena, and I already know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Anton, still keeping it tight, working out, doing his thing.
Yeah, he is. He still works out.
So, fellas, here's two things I heard. I heard keep it tight. Little beer bellies ain't where it's at, my guys. And flexibility in the relationship, right? Like support and flexibility. Things won't always be the same way they were when you first got together.
That's right.
The way you got down 20 years ago definitely won't be the way you get down 20 years from now. So rolling with that, adjusting expectations, and you also adjusting in that position as well. Speaking of adjusting.
Wait, before that, you missed one thing that all three of them said.
I missed it.
They all said they had a ritual with their husbands. They all have these things they do repetitively, either every day or every week, that they can count on, that both of them can count on, that they know they're going to do, you know, whether it's dinner, whether it's the phone call at 11:30, they have these consistent rituals. I've never even thought about that in a relationship, but I can see why that's so important, having those consistent events that everybody can count on. That's
because here's the thing, like, people thrive in structure. Whether they want to, whether they recognize that or not.
That's right.
Yeah, people thrive in structure for sure.
Absolutely.
And consistency is key. Yeah.
Well, let's break out of the structure a little bit.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Mish. No. We start with you. You in studio. We'll come back to you. Okay. I'm gonna jump this one to Lena first. How are we keeping the romantic flame going in these relationships with her? These are 20-year relationships.
Yeah.
Whew, that's a good question. One of the things I think, you know, it goes back to that communication piece, like, once again, and communicating even your needs to get that flame lit, maybe keep that flame lit. It's communication. And I mean, what I find attractive in Anton is different than what I used to find attractive in Anton. It's some of it's the same, but some of it has changed and grown as he's grown. So, you know, so definitely getting rid of the kids for a few minutes, but also, you know, once again, that communication, because like I said, you know, things change for you. So that would probably be my best way to say that.
Man, I'm not. That was too vague. I'm not letting it happen.
I was about to say,
how is Anton keeping your wick lit? Let's stop playing these games around here.
He's doing the chocolates and the strawberries.
That's what I said. I went to the show. We've been real polite. I quit.
Well, I think what's attractive to both Anton and I is that we both are attracted to intelligence. So having a witty dialogue, communication, and then you go out and, you know, sometimes in marriage, when you're in routines and kids, it's important to take that time to go out and have some alone time, so you can go and have that witty banter and you can rekindle what you initially found attractive in a person. And, you know, is he doing anything? Like, I would say he does this one thing that's special. I don't think it's one thing. I think it's just, you know, he brings his authentic self to the table. And what I find attractive in my husband is, you know, being a good dad. When he's, you know, being great with the girls, like, then I'm like, ooh, you know, which at 20 something, I wouldn't have found that attractive, but at 40 something, I do. So it's things like that. It's especially keen when it's times when we're just really in sync with one another. And like I said, I'm sorry it's boring, but it goes back to, you know, that communication again, and spending that time and doing those routines and doing those little things for each other. So I wish it could get saucier from there, but
that's a little more detailed. That's all I was asking. You was dancing around it at first. I had to let you dig in a little bit. Kat, I'm gonna come back to you, Mish.
What keeps the flame lit?
No. Not specifically. How is he
keeping the flame lit? Being strategic with his time. So I heard sis say going for walks when the kids at school, and we doing some other things. That's right. That's the joy of being an entrepreneur. You are in control of your time.
Let's go.
So things like that. Dating for sure. Because we, again, you know, try to have fun together, as many opportunities as we get, traveling together. That's keeping the flame lit too. And you know what, being open. Like, if he have, you know, some different things he's looking for, and has an open ear if I have some different things I'm looking for, and just being open-minded. So,
ooh, you know, I want to tell them, I'm not gonna.
I'm proud of you.
I'm not, because you know that's a whole other show.
Here you go. We keeping it PG.
You keep that just today. Just today.
Cat.
Agree with everything everybody said. I think when I met my husband, he was attractive, but he is even more attractive to me than when I met him. And in addition to everything everybody else said, if you just want me to keep it real, we say some nasty shit to each other. We like to be flirty, an ass hit on the way in the, a grab here, a snuggle there, some talk about what'll happen when the kid goes to sleep, taking a day off, if I'm working from home and making that day just about us. So getting it in whenever you can, and that all exudes from, the conversations, the way he is as a father, all that sex appeal, but just making sure at the end of the day, there's time for us. And it never feels like a chore. It really doesn't.
Good and goddamn well you didn't hear her say furry.
She said they like to be furries.
She said flirty.
Oh, I heard furries.
Goddamn furry.
I heard furries. That's what I heard.
And even if she did say furry, so what?
I want to dive into that. Sorry.
You're like, what are you?
I was going to ask specific, like, where do you get the costume? Where do you get the costume?
Are you a beaver? What furry are you? You're a fucking. What is wrong with you?
You pull each other's tails? I didn't know. Sorry. That was just me. My bad. Continue.
You can throw me. I really don't like you. All right, Elena. It was probably supposed to be at the end, but I'm going to ask this now. I keep hearing, actually, I'll save that for when we close out, but what advice would you give non-married men, right? It occurs to me that men are resistant, is probably the best word I could think of, to taking that step with women. Now, whether that's because they haven't met the right one or they just have some internal stuff, like what advice would you give them to get over whatever concerns they have around getting married?
Anton, I'll use his words a little bit. It's like, sometimes it takes work for you to do work on yourself, right? Before you can go into a joint partnership with somebody else. And you have to, he'll always say, well, you have to work, some of those things out yourself. So if you have like this fear of being married, and in a commitment, maybe that's a you thing that you need to address. And, I would just say this is that, and I can't be specific about, it's all in the type of women that you're dating, just definitely, I like that phrase of what somebody said is just make sure that you're bringing someone into your life who's an asset and not a liability. If you found someone that is, that brings out the best in you, I think, a lot of times with dating, sometimes you'll run into a couple of characters that will bring out the worst in you. But when you found someone that brings out the best in you, and if you still, have concerns or fears or whatever have you, don't be afraid to take a closer look. And then if you think that this is a person worth fighting for, it's never a bad thing to kind of talk about with a third party, whether it's a relationship therapist or whatever have you, what your expectations are. Are your expectations real? Like, are those realistic expectations? And then, how you all can meet in the middle to be able to meet each other's expectations.
Are your expectations realistic?
Yeah.
Come on, later. This is why me and you get down.
Meshula, same question. What kind of advice would you give men who are walking around concerned about women stealing their money and they make $40,000 a year?
Whoa, wait!
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
Whoa! What are you doing?
You know what? But my answer actually is going to be right in line.
Show. We were having a nice, clean show. God damn it!
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
It'll be in line though with what you just said, and I'm gonna use some of my husband's language too. And this was hard to hear, but he told me one time that we work and it's been working because he tolerates more than he does not. So one thing that people really need to know is that you're never going to accept everything about your man. It's just not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
But what you have to decide is what you can tolerate, because there are gonna be some things that you just tolerating. And if you can tolerate, if they're a person that they're an asset, and not a liability, and then you have some things that you feel like you can tolerate because you're not gonna really accept those things about your mate, then those are two key things that can help you make it.
Tolerate, not necessarily accept.
Yeah.
I mean, now wait a minute. You are married. What do you think about that? Yes, twice
absolutely.
actually.
You're absolutely
Actually, twice actually.
Look, she ain't bugged up all show, but she bugged up right there.
Absolutely.
Damn right you are.
Absolutely. Yes, you are.
Soror-in-law.
The sip-in-law.
Period.
So, what do you think about that? And you haven't really dived in, obviously, because you're not a wild man or a wife, but do you agree with that? And obviously Allison is amazing, so you don't tolerate a whole lot. But do you agree with that?
No, she got some stuff he tolerating. And I love her. And I know she listening. And she know I love her. But he tolerating some stuff.
I think she's perfect. I don't know what her ship is talking about. Well, listen to her shit.
Period. I'm dying.
No, absolutely. Listen, hold on. Anybody that's watching or knows me or is getting to know me via this podcast or other methods, I'm not the easiest. I don't claim to be. So I know she's tolerating a lot, and I appreciate the bandwidth of her tolerance. And contrary to her belief, she is not perfect. But I love even her little picadillos and her little inconsistencies. But there are things that, given my druthers, I wouldn't be bothered with.
Mm-hmm.
But they come with who she is, and the advantages far outweigh those little things.
Mm-hmm.
So I can deal with those little things because she brings so many big, great things to the table.
Okay. Little pearls of wisdom from Brian Foster. All right, Kat. Advice for the married men who, they scared of losing their little coins.
Can you guys hear me?
I gotta keep it rolling.
You did
it. Go ahead, Kat.
I don't hear you guys, so I'm just gonna talk and just based upon the question previously, but I can't hear you. I think I can't really speak for men, but I would say, for the most part, if you weigh the pros and cons, don't talk yourself out of a good decision. I think that's a lot of things that happen sometimes. You have a good woman, you have good communication, everything seems to be going well. Don't talk yourself out of a good decision. If she's meeting 90% of 100%, why not? If she's meeting 80%, going outside to think that you're going to find something else and trying to invest your time in another situation when you already have most of what you need, and does she bring those things that you're missing to your life? I would say go for it. That's me. Don't talk yourself out of a good decision. Anybody you meet is not going to meet every need, but when you find somebody who can meet most of them, then yeah.
Can you hear us now? Oh no, she can't hear us.
She can't hear us.
Nope.
We got
you are
no,
such a pain in the ass.
No, but no, these are pearls right now. We got that even right there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, what we're basically saying is, or what the ladies are saying, is that everybody's not going to be your everything, and they shouldn't be. That's too heavy of a burden to put on anyone. But if everybody's got boxes to check.
Yeah.
And if they're checking 85%, 75%, hell, 70% of those boxes, you might want to move. Don't talk yourself out of a good thing.
70%?
70. Yeah, shit, 50%.
According to Chris Levy, that's like a D.
51%. You better jump on that bug.
A big fat ass.
We grading on the curve.
This is the bell curve.
Grade on the curve.
What I'm saying is, you have dated a lot of people in your life that fell below that 50%, or you be with them.
Yeah.
Big facts.
So if somebody can meet over half of them, you might want to at least consider it.
Look, as the only single person in this room, yeah, I feel you. I get it. I totally understand. That's hilarious. All right, do you have anything else you want to ask, Mr. Lovebug?
just your whole attitude right now.
I actually kind of enjoy you being all like in love and loving the love and stuff. I'm just poking fun at you.
Usually I like to talk shit, but no. I think we've covered most of the base. I would love to hear everybody's final thoughts around this topic. Any last pearls you want to give? Anything else you want to extend? Because I believe most of your men probably don't see this. That you want to extend to your men's friends or anything like. What are your? As we've had this conversation, I think we've all learned a few things. What are you going to take away with, and what do you hope that others take away from this conversation, Mitch?
Yeah, so I think it's as far as extending to my man, because I know he is listening. Definitely, I appreciate you. And I know a lot of times for men, and especially alpha men who are driven, and their primary goal is really to provide and make sure that their family is comfortable, they often do not feel appreciated. So, I want to tell you right now that I appreciate you, and I'll be working to show you.
Oh,
you go get you sucked. Ira, give it a good one, brother.
Please.
Please and thank you. That's my God.
I see why you brought her on the show.
I love it.
We need to have her back real soon.
My ship is low. All right. Lady B, any final thoughts?
Well, one of the things that I wanted to say was on our wedding day and at our reception, I put books out for people to jot down their best marriage advice. And the one that sticks out in my head was submitted to me by she's probably not listening, but Nicole Butler Moo Young, a lot of her, Dr. Nikki. She said, when you're in your marriage and you're going through hard times, just ask yourself, do you want to be right or do you want to be married? And that was like a key piece of advice that I have always had at the top of my mind, especially, a marriage is going to be ups and it's going to be downs. But at the end of the day, sometimes you do have to make that choice. And so to say specifically to Anton is clearly, I love you. And I absolutely love the remarks that, I appreciate you, the girls appreciate you, and we see you every single day as you grow and you make it your own charge to just always be a better dad and be, a better husband. He's always looking at how he can evolve and how he can grow and how he can be better. And we see you and we love you.
Y'all gonna make me cry. And
I need to go get some too. Yes.
I hate you. Kat, can you hear us?
There we
go. Yay. All right, I keep the love train going.
Okay, what's the question? And I'm sorry to hear it.
Final advice, like wrapping this up. Final thoughts, final feelings.
And anything you want to express. And I don't know. We've been calling out everybody's husband's name but yours. I do not want him to feel Mark.
Yes.
Mark, anything you want to say to Mark, who hopefully will see this one day in a love capsule or something.
You know what? I would tell people that you don't have to grow up in a household of married parents to understand what marriage is. My mother was never married to our fathers, but I had instances of married couples around me. Some of my best friends' parents were married and still are. And so those examples I was able to bring at me with an early age to understand that was something I wanted, something I wanted to do. And every marriage is your own marriage. Never compare what you have to someone else's. What works for your family may not work for mine and vice versa. What I tell my friends is always respect your mate. Marcus and I can have an argument and it can be heated, but we're always respectful, even in our arguments. The name calling we don't do. We're not perfect, but we're intentional about not knocking each other down. We're thoughtful. We think about each other. When making decisions, we think about how it affects each other. And just most importantly, we love each other. We may not like each other every day, but at the end of the day, I always love my husband. I always hold my husband in the highest regard. And as funny as it may sound, and as hood as it may sound, I tell everybody, I'll choke a bitch out about my man.
Hopefully you're not choking out them bitches very often.
No, I said respectful. We're very respectful, but when I mean that, it's just that the way we talk about each other, the way we address, the way we speak about each other, I never have to worry about if I'm not in the room, the things that he would be disrespectful about me. He always holds me in the highest regard, and the same way.
Love it.
Aww.
Sean. Okay, so we started this conversation.
No.
We started this whole conversation, this whole show, with you stating vehemently that it was very vehement that you were ready to hear and listen and potentially learn some things. So this is what I'm asking. What are you taking away from this conversation today?
I think the biggest thing I heard, and I hope more men than I heard this, that communication is key. Like they every time we ask them a question, communication worked its way into the answer, right? Yeah. So I think that is going to be paramount for men to understand that opening your mouth and expressing yourself and your needs and your wants and expressing how you're going to meet her needs and wants are going to be paramount to a relationship, or just communication in general, right? I definitely got that part. But what did I get from this? I will say that I got, I don't want to sound trite, but hope, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not 25. I'm older. No, I'm not 25 anymore.
Since when?
Since about 15 years ago.
Longer than that.
20 years ago. Sorry.
You know what?
It gives me, I think if you date, right, and you've dated as long as I have, there is a part of you that does feel a bit defeated to have gone this long and not have been married, or at least been in a very long-term relationship, if that's what you want, because everybody doesn't want to get married. So there's a part of you that feels a little bit defeated, but this gives me a lot of hope that what I need and what I want is very, very possible, or at least 80% of what I need and what I want, right? And I will say a lot of that has helped me calibrate, and I was sitting here processing like the things that I need, like what is 80% of that I really, really need, and what's the 20% that I can live without, or the 50% according to you?
I was halfway being.
So yeah, I gave me a lot of food for thought. I thank each of the ladies because I really took a lot from each of you guys. I really, really appreciate it. I don't know why Brian ain't had y'all on here before, except Elena.
I said Elena's been on a few times. Sometimes you gotta hold your people in reserve for the right show. For the right show.
But you guys were brilliant. Definitely appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
I DM y'all for like more advice.
Look, listen, do what you got to do. I do want to be realistic around that communication piece. If I can say one last thing.
No. Keep on. If we got more,
no. I mean, really, you have to practice some patience around the communication piece too. I mean, naturally, I feel most women communicate more and potentially more effectively. At least we believe than men do.
Why are you shocked by this?
Yeah, but I think that we all have to give a little on, like, your partner growing and being patient with the growth and communication. But then also men being okay with being prompted at times. Like, don't be resistant to the prompting, because all of this really is going to get us to a resolution. So, but it's some patience that you're going to have to practice with that communication though. It's definitely paramount, but it's a journey.
Me and Kat are on the Aries train. That is not our strong suit. Is patience.
Yeah, my husband. He's an Aries.
Put her head down. That is not our strong suit. Is patience. So
Kat didn't even want to save money.
Clearly, I got.
She's like, you pay these bills and I spend the money.
So that is definitely an opportunity for me to grow. Is to exercise some patience for sure. I can admit that.
Okay. All
right. You B.
So first of all, as Sean said, I want to reiterate, thank you all for being on the show. You all are brilliant, beautiful. Appreciate your insights into this. I think hopefully it was helpful for a lot of ladies, married or otherwise, men, married or otherwise. I think most of the takeaways from today, from my lens at least, is that all things are possible. No, like relationships are work. You make a decision every day to get up and be in that relationship and try to make it work. And there are a lot of ingredients that go into that gumbo. And it's not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. But there's a lot of communication. There's a lot of give and take. There's a lot of forgiveness. There's a lot of flexibility. And there's also just a lot of, if it's a good relationship, if you want to make it the best relationship, realism. Realistic about who you are, realistic about who your partner is, realistic about who you are together. And most of the time, you hope you're rowing in the same direction. Occasionally, you might row in a different direction and go in a circle, but then you got to have the right communication to get that boat back upstream, right? And that's not always easy, and it's not always fast, and it's not always quick. So don't give up, right? You have to, again, every day make that decision to be in it. And it takes work, and it takes intention. Yeah. As I think everybody has mentioned in this conversation. And you've got to be willing to see yourself, see your partner, see your relationship in a totality, and figure out the best path to go. And I'm gonna say that for men. We should be to our men always say men don't let us. Women don't let men be leaders, blah blah blah. That's probably because if she's not letting you be a leader, because you haven't proven that you are the right leader. If you are leading in the way you're supposed to be leading, trust me, your woman will let you lead. If she's not, you probably suck.
You just killed half our audience with that shit.
So that being said, I think all of it's worth it when you find the right person to invest in. Point blank, period. Hey, thank you all for being and participating and being in this presence, being in our presence, being a part of the show once again. Another episode of the In the Zone podcast in the can. As always, we have no idea what we're talking about next week.
We don't. These are facts. I have an idea, but I want to see if I can.
Look, not true. See, goddamn it, I knew. Chris almost said this specifically for you. Hey, once again, love you all. Appreciate you for watching. Thank you again to our guests. Thank you again to my hostess. We'll see you all next week, 7:00 p.m. Central Time, right back here. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy this nice fall weather.
Podcast. In the Zone. 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 Podcast. In the Zone.